In the central highlands of South Vietnam, American infantry units continue their push through some of the most unforgiving terrain of the war. Here, every shadow could hide an enemy, and every step could be your last. This is a report from the field. January 1968. On this morning patrol, the mission seems simple enough. Move along a narrow ridgeline, search for enemy trails, and check rumored supply dumps. But here in the highlands, nothing is simple. The men spread out, 10 to 15 meters apart. Eyes forward, eyes to the sides. A constant scan of the ground, looking for wires, traps, or disturbed earth. There's no sound besides boots in the mud and the quiet breathing of soldiers who know the jungle is alive around them. Halfway through the ridgeline, the point man freezes. A faint trail, barely visible, cuts perpendicular through the brush, seems out of place. A hand signal passes silently down the column. The patrol tightens up. Young men grip their rifles tighter. A young infantryman later described moments like this as the kind of quiet that makes your heartbeat feel too loud. The squad leader checks the trail. Fresh footprints, likely enemy scouts. The jungle suddenly feels heavier. Something isn't right. The first shots come from the left flank. Short, controlled bursts at first, then the jungle erupts into chaos. Men drop to the ground instinctively. Machine guns swing toward muzzle flashes barely visible through the trees. The patrol is caught in a textbook L-shaped ambush. Enemy fighters firing from a concealed ridge above them. Radio chatter spikes. A medic sprints forward, low to the earth, looking for the first man hit. One soldier described these moments as a mixture of terror and training. Your body knows what to do before your mind catches up. The M60 team sets up behind a fallen log. The gunner opens up, firing disciplined bursts to keep the ridge suppressed. The squad leader orders the men to shift right, using the slope to break the enemy's angle. Grenades are launched into the tree line. Plumes of smoke and leaves burst overhead. It's impossible to see the enemy clearly. They move like ghosts, first here, then gone, firing from narrow windows in the canopy. But American fire discipline takes hold. The patrol forms a tight defensive front, anchoring around the M60's steady rhythm, chewing up belts of ammo. A wounded soldier is dragged back. The medic works in silence, face tight with concentration. Minutes feel like hours. As suddenly as it began, the shooting stops. No one moved at first. With ears ringing and hands trembling, the men waited, listening, making sure the enemy wasn't preparing a second volley. Then the reality of the aftermath took over. The medic went to work immediately. He crawled from man to man, his hands moving with a calm urgency, born from routine and necessity. Bandages were pressed into wounds, tourniquets cinched tight. A few meters away, another soldier stared at his own trembling hands, unable to grasp how he'd made it through the fight untouched. Shock takes different forms. Some men talk too much, some don't speak at all. The radio crackles as the squad leader calls in a medevac. The patrol marks the landing zone with colored smoke, though the trees were thick and the clearing barely wide enough for a small chopper. The men knew it might be a risky extraction. In terrain like this, everything was a risk. Two soldiers moved carefully through the brush, checking for blood trails. They found long streaks of dark red mixed with footprints, signs the enemy had taken casualties of their own before slipping into the deeper forest, leaving the young men frustrated. Enemy forces in the highlands rarely stay to be overwhelmed. They strike fast, inflict damage, then fade into the jungle before artillery or air power can arrive. But there would be no pursuit. Not today. The priority now was the wounded and the fallen. The chopper arrived before they heard it, a low, distant thump that grew louder as it approached from the valley below. Dust and loose leaves whipped into the air as the Huey hovered, struggling to find footing among the uneven terrain. The men shielded their eyes. The medic and two riflemen lifted the first casualty, rushing him toward the side door as the crew chief leaned out, shouting above the roar of the blades. Another wounded man followed, pale, quiet, clutching his own bandage as if afraid to let go. Then came the hardest part. Two soldiers knelt beside the body of their friend, gently lifting him with a poncho used as an improvised litter. No words were spoken. There was nothing left to say. They carried him with a solemn respect, born from months of shared hardship, from nights spent soaking wet, from long marches under an unforgiving sun, from moments of laughter that now felt impossibly far away. The chopper lifted off moments later, rising into the canopy and vanishing toward the horizon, taking with it both the wounded and the weight of the patrol's loss. The jungle fell quiet again. Too quiet. The kind of quiet that makes men older than their years. And slowly, almost reluctantly, the patrol prepared to move. In after-action reports, patrols like this are summarized in a few short lines. Unit engaged by small NVA element. Ambush repelled. Casualties sustained. But that doesn't capture the truth of it. It doesn't capture the tension in the air when the point man raises a fist. It doesn't capture the fear they swallowed as bullets snapped past their ears. It doesn't capture the relief and the guilt of surviving another contact. This is the reality of the Central Highlands in 1968. Short, violent encounters in a jungle that hides friend and enemy alike. For the men who walked these ridgelines, the war was not strategy or politics. Its long, exhausting days and nights, its chaos in a sweltering jungle, its gut-wrenching fear, and the hope of seeing the next sunrise.
If you want more frontline reports and Vietnam history stories, consider subscribing. It helps keep these memories alive and ensures the men who fought here are never forgotten.